In the Generation 2 games, we are introduced to a region that is steeped in lore and culture, compared to a more technology-focused Kanto region. The cultural hub for the Johto region is by far the city of Ecritique, where we meet a group of famous trainers who will be the focus of today's video. Hello everyone, and thank you for coming to my channel. My name is Lane, and with that, let's get started. The Kimono Girls are a group of famous trainers who all live and work in the city of Ecritique, or Ecritique City. They all work at the Ecritique City Dance Hall. And of course, they all wear, you guessed it, kimonos. Their names are Naoko, Seo, Zuki, Kuni, and Miki. Each one of these girls will be battled in a Johto playthrough, with each of them using one of the 5 evolutions available at the time of Generation 2. Weirdly enough, these change between Generation 2 and 4 for certain trainers. But that brings up an interesting question. Since the introduction of the Kimono Girls, we have been introduced to 3 new evolutions: Leafeon, Glaceon, and Sylveon. Given that the other 5 have a Kimono Girl, wouldn't it stand to reason that there would be a Kimono Girl for the other 3? That's what we're going to be looking into today. Who are the 3 missing Kimono Girls from Ecritique City? So our criteria for looking into this is going to be that they need to own an evolution. So, not a whole lot, but we're going to go ahead and look at some of the possibilities that I found for this. So we're actually going to begin with our newest evolution, Sylveon. Our options to pick from here are to follow: Valerie, Bede, Jacinthe, and Sylveon Specialist Mira. We can disqualify Bede because he is a boy. Not to say that boys can't wear a kimono, but I think that Bede's too much of a jerk for it. I don't think that he would exemplify what a kimono girl actually is. Jacinthe is an interesting candidate, but I think she appears way too late in the timeline, and there isn't much evidence that she's from anywhere near the Johto region, living in Lumio City. Mira is a Sylveon specialist in the Alola region, but she's far too young, having inherited the title from her grandmother. Her grandmother could have been one, but most likely would have retired a long time ago. That leaves us with Valerie. Valerie is, or at least was, the kimono girl associated with Sylveon. In a YouTube short that I did a few weeks ago, I actually went into a really deep theory. I mean, I don't know how deep it could be if it was a YouTube short, but I went into a theory about how Valerie and Bill, the storage admin from the Kanto and Johto regions, are actually related. And I went into a fairly deep with how Valerie could have been his younger sister and she could have been a kimono girl. So I'm actually going to link that here instead of going into, or up there, instead of going into the evidence too much, just because I don't want to have to repeat myself and waste your guys' time with it. But Valerie is our Sylveon kimono girl. And now that we have the one for Sylveon figured out, let's look at our other 2 evolutions, starting with Leafeon. So we're going to start by looking at who I believe our contenders are for our Leafeon kimono girl. I have who I think would be our top options here. They are Erica, Gardenia, Mallow, Leafeon Specialist Linnea, and Parn. Based on our criteria, we can actually cross off 2 of these people, that being Erica and Mallow, because neither of them actually use a Leafeon in any of their main series appearances. I am aware that Erica uses a Leafeon in Pokemon Masters, but I'm only counting the main series here. I'm not counting any of the spin-off series or anything like that, so do with that what you want in the comments. Now, I'm actually kind of mad that Erica doesn't own a Leafeon, because she would have been the perfect pick for this. She wears a kimono in every one of her appearances in the main series. It's like Game Freak had an option to do it, but they just decided, no, I'm not going to do it. So now Mallow is a bit harder to place. I mainly just included her here because of her type specialty lining up nicely with Leafeon's typing. So we are now left with 3 choices: Gardenia, Linnea, and Parn. And I think we have a potentially solid case for all 3 of them. Linnea is a model, very similarly to Valerie, and she travels the world with her only Pokemon, being that Leafeon. This would explain her absence from the Kimono Girls group in the Johto games. Gardenia is the first character we see who uses a Leafeon on one of their teams and is from the region where the Pokemon was actually introduced. However, she only uses a Leafeon in her Pokemon World Tournament team, not on an actual in-game team of any of her main appearances. She is a Sinnoh gym leader that focuses on grass-type Pokemon and lives right next to the Eterna Forest, which is home to the Mossy Rock needed to evolve Eevee into Leafeon. Parn definitely feels more like a timeless pick, pun intended. She, as we know, is the ancestor of Diamond Clan leader Adamant, and much like him uses a Leafeon, showing some ancestral, traditional, and cultural ties. She, like Valerie, also pursues a dream, which is, in Parent's case, traveling the world to be a photographer. Now, looking at our contenders for Glaceon. We actually have quite a few different possibilities, which I didn't actually expect going into this. From my findings, Lorelei, Glacia, Candice, Cynthia, Cena, Glaceon user Rhea, and Irida are all on my initial list of candidates. Given that our Glaceon Kimono Girl needs to use a Glaceon, we can cut out Lorelei and Glacia. We can also, reluctantly, get rid of Irida. Irida's game takes place like 500 years before the main series of Pokemon games, so it's pretty safe to assume that she's probably deceased at the time of the Johto games. Not saying it's not impossible that she's done time traveling stuff like Ingo. Likely? Probably not. Possible? Sure. But I'm going to discount her here. So that leaves us with Candice, Cynthia, Cena, and Glaceon user Rhea. I think we can quickly count out Glaceon user Rhea. It is stated that she is from Iki Town originally and was called Miss Absolute Zero. Badass name. She is now retired and wishes to spend time with her grandkid. This is definitely a possible candidate for a previous Kimono Girl, but I think that if she was, it would have been a very long time ago. She's retired now and I'm looking for someone a lot more recent. We can also disqualify Cynthia because she only ever uses a Glaceon in the Unova games, not a common or mainstay Pokemon on her team. It seems that her roles of champion and researcher are far more important to her anyways. So that leaves us with Candice and Cena, who actually have a lot of evidence for her. In every appearance that Cena makes in the Pokemon main series, she uses a Glaceon. Not to mention she studies underneath Professor Sycamore, who studies evolution and mega evolution, with evolution being a defining trait of Eevee. In the Alola region, she is defined as an Ice-type specialist as well. Now looking at Candice, she is the Snowpoint City Ice-type gym leader. Unlike Sia, she does not use a Glaceon in every appearance, but does in majority of them, with it even being her highest level Pokemon in her Battleground rematch in Pokemon Platinum. Candice is also the gym leader of a city closest to the Icy Rock, the, at the time, only place you could evolve an Eevee into a Glaceon. So, according to my research, my findings, my evidence, our other two missing Kimono Girls joining Valerie are Parn and Candice. Now, let's see if I can go ahead and explain maybe a potential story as to why they never came back, or why they left. So thinking logically, at the time of Glaceon and Leafeon's introduction into the series, there was no method to evolve them in the Johto region. We didn't have the modern method of using an ice or leaf stone, and you could only evolve them by touching the icy or Rossi Rock. I'm going to continue to call it the Rossi Rock. That's the Mossy Rock, which at the time only existed in the Sinnoh region. I have a theory that maybe the Kimono Girls, with Glaceon and Leafeon being newer, sent off two of their younger Kimono Girls, that being Candice at the time and Parn, to the Sinnoh region so they could evolve their Pokemon and study the evolution method for it. Maybe even become stronger trainers. Then after that, they settled down in the region to continue researching near the locations where Eevee can evolve. I mean, it definitely makes sense as to why they wouldn't appear during the events of Heart Gold and Soul Silver, since the Generation 2 and Generation 4 games happened so close together in the timeline. Given that the gap between Generation 4 and Generation 9 is a very long time, it's possible that Parn would have aged during this time period, proving that maybe she was the same age as Candice in Generation 4 to Generation 9. I mean, we don't know how old either of them are in their in-game appearances, so it's definitely a possibility. Then once they settled in their respective areas, Candice became a gym leader and found herself with a larger duty to guard the Snowpoint Temple. Parn, however, she found a new path where she would travel the world to become a photographer. So some people might be bringing up the fact that Clover and Adaman are both ancestors of Candice and Parn in the Hisui region. Why would they be Kimono Girls in Johto then? And to that, I say, lovely viewer, wait, I'm getting there. Just because someone is in the Hisui region doesn't mean that they never leave Sinnoh. Think about Sanqua, who is hinted to be the ancestor of Karen, who is from the Johto Elite Four, or even Charm, who is hinted to be the ancestor of Agatha from the Kanto Elite Four. People can move freely in and out of regions in the real world. Alright, thank you guys so much for joining me for this theory of mine. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you have any other thoughts or any other conclusions on who you think the Kimono Girls are, definitely let me know down in the comments below. I'm always open to feedback. I'm always open to hearing your theories, your thoughts on it, because hey, it's just a theory. Not gonna say that, but yeah, let me know, you guys. I'm always down for different perspective, different point of view. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!